The night air hangs heavy with exhaust fumes and tension. Flashlights dance across blacktop as shadowy figures huddle around monstrous machines, their engines dormant but threatening. And at the center of it all stands a man whose word has been law in the underground racing world for over a decade, Big Chief. With a single nod or shake of his head, careers are made or shattered on the streets. His standards for loyalty, respect, and raw driving skill have defined the culture of Street Outlaws since day one. But not everyone measured up to the Chief's exacting code. In this video, we're revealing the 5 racers who found themselves on the wrong side of Big Chief's legendary temper, and why each confrontation became a defining moment in street racing history. Stay till the end to see who lands at number 1, and discover the explosive fallout that changed the show forever. The 405 wasn't just a racing crew. It was Big Chief's vision brought to life. When Street Outlaws first roared onto television screens in 2013, viewers were introduced to a tight-knit brotherhood bound by unwritten rules of the street. Chief, born Justin Shearer, had cultivated a reputation long before cameras arrived, establishing himself as the gatekeeper of Oklahoma City's street racing scene. His leadership style was uncompromising but fair. Show up ready to race. Back your talk with performance. Respect the list, and above all, protect the crew. For years, this formula worked perfectly, transforming a regional racing scene into a national phenomenon. But as fame, money, and egos grew, the pressure cooker environment began to fracture even the strongest alliances. The world of street racing demands split-second decisions, nerves of steel, and unwavering loyalty. When millions of dollars and countless reputations are on the line, true character reveals itself, sometimes in ways that couldn't be forgiven. While Big Chief maintained public professionalism throughout most conflicts, recent interviews and podcast appearances have pulled back the curtain on the genuine animosity that simmered beneath the surface. Now, for the first time, we can piece together the complete picture of the 5 racers who truly tested Chief's patience to the breaking point. Number 5. Dave Comstock. Known to fans as Daddy Dave, Comstock initially seemed like the perfect lieutenant for Big Chief's racing empire. His humble demeanor masked a competitive fire that earned respect on the streets long before cameras arrived. Viewers connected with Dave's blue-collar backstory and his relentless work ethic, watching him climb from the bottom of the list to become one of the 405's most feared competitors. His Goliath Nova became synonymous with consistent performance, and his technical knowledge made him an invaluable asset to the team. But the first cracks appeared during Season 7 in 2016, when tensions over race calling and list positioning boiled over during a particularly controversial night of filming. After Chief made a contested call that went against Dave in a race against Doc, cameras caught a heated exchange between the two in the staging area. While microphones didn't capture the entire conversation, multiple crew members confirmed that Dave questioned Chief's impartiality, suggesting favoritism was influencing race decisions. "You're changing the rules depending on who's racing," Dave allegedly told Chief, a direct challenge to the very foundation of Chief's leadership: fairness. This confrontation struck at the core of Big Chief's value system. In the street racing world, a race caller's integrity is sacred. By questioning Chief's impartiality, Dave had violated the cardinal rule of respect that held the 405 together. Though they eventually moved past this specific incident, the trust was fractured. Now, let's rewind to understand the deeper roots of this conflict. Before becoming synonymous with Street Outlaws, Dave had established his own racing identity independent of Big Chief's influence. This self-sufficiency meant Dave was less inclined to accept Chief's authority without question, unlike many others in the crew. Behind the scenes, Dave was building relationships with sponsors and developing his own brand, moves that some interpreted as preparation for an eventual split from the 405. The consequences materialized gradually. While maintaining a professional on-camera relationship, Chief began limiting Dave's involvement in strategic decisions about the show's direction. The final strain came when Dave accepted an invitation to race with a rival team in a special event without discussing it with Chief first, a move seen as prioritizing personal gain over crew loyalty. When fans noticed the growing distance between the once close racers, social media exploded with speculation. Though neither man publicly acknowledged the rift, their diminished screen time together spoke volumes. Did Dave outgrow the 405? Or did Chief push away one of his most valuable assets? Either way, the brotherhood that once seemed unbreakable had developed its first significant crack. Number 4. J.J. Dawboss, Jonathan Day, better known to fans as J.J. Dawboss, brought a different flavor of street racing to the Street Outlaws universe. His Memphis-style racing, with its own distinct rules and traditions, initially fascinated viewers as a contrast to the 405's approach. With his charismatic drawl and family-oriented racing team, JJ quickly built a following that rivaled the original cast members. Big Chief even appeared to welcome this expansion of the Street Outlaws brand, participating in crossover events that brought the two racing styles together. However, the camaraderie deteriorated rapidly during the filming of Street Outlaws Mega Race in 2018. What began as friendly competition devolved into genuine hostility when JJ's team began making what Chief perceived as disrespectful comments about the 405's racing abilities. According to production crew members, tensions reached a boiling point off camera when JJ suggested that the 405 racers were TV racers rather than genuine street competitors, striking directly at the authenticity Chief had worked so hard to maintain. The accusation violated Big Chief's most closely held value: legitimacy. Since day one, he had fought against the perception that the show had diluted the rawness of real street racing. To have another racer publicly question this commitment was more than a personal insult. It undermined the entire brand Chief had built. But here's where it gets complicated. The conflict wasn't just about racing philosophy. It was about control of the Street Outlaws narrative. As JJ's popularity grew and his spin-off show, Street Outlaws Memphis, gained traction, the power dynamic within the franchise began to shift. Sources close to production revealed that Chief was particularly frustrated by network decisions that seemed to prioritize JJ's more dramatic racing style over the technical precision the 405 prided itself on. And that's when everything changed. What began as professional rivalry transformed into personal animosity during a race night in 2019 that never made it to air. When teams from both shows gathered for a special event, an argument over starting procedures allegedly led to JJ telling Chief that the 405's time was over. Multiple witnesses reported that Chief responded by telling JJ to stay in Memphis and that he would never race against the 405 again. The fallout from this confrontation reshaped the Street Outlaws universe. Network executives began keeping the two factions separate, filming their shows with minimal crossover. Fans divided into camps, with social media battles raging between Team 405 and Team Memphis supporters. In podcasts since leaving the show, Chief has alluded to certain people who forgot what real street racing is about, a thinly veiled reference that most fans understood immediately. Did the franchise benefit from this rivalry, or did it damage the authenticity both men claimed to protect? Either way, the division created two distinct Street Outlaws kingdoms, with two very different kings. Number 3. Kai Kelly, from the bayous of Mississippi, emerged perhaps the most naturally gifted driver ever to challenge the 405's dominance. Kai Kelly burst onto the Street Outlaws scene in 2015 with his iconic Shocker Camaro, immediately establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with. Fans were drawn to his soft-spoken humility that contrasted sharply with his aggressive driving style. Even Big Chief initially seemed impressed by Kelly's raw talent and respectful approach to the game, publicly praising him as the real deal after their first encounters. But respect turned to rivalry during the infamous No Prep Kings season in 2018. After Kelly defeated several 405 members in consecutive races, tensions escalated at the Bristol event when he allegedly began suggesting to sponsors that the future of street racing was moving away from Oklahoma to the southeast. According to team members present, Chief confronted Kelly in the pits about playing both sides, being friendly with the 405 while simultaneously working to diminish their prominence in the racing world. This perceived betrayal cut deep because it violated Big Chief's expectations of loyalty to the original street racing community that had made the show possible. While Chief had always welcomed competition, he expected a certain deference to the platform that had elevated all their profiles. Now, let's rewind to examine a critical turning point. In 2017, after several high-profile races between them had captured fans' imagination, Chief and Kai had discussed potential collaboration on special events. However, according to podcast interviews with mutual associates, Kelly instead began developing his own rival racing organization with separate sponsors and a competing vision for televised street racing. When Chief discovered these plans through industry contacts rather than directly from Kelly, he reportedly felt blindsided. The consequences of this deteriorating relationship played out both on and off camera. Racing matchups between the two became increasingly charged, with Chief allegedly refusing to participate in certain events if Kelly was given top billing. Production team members noted that filming schedules were adjusted to keep the two separated except when absolutely necessary for the show's narrative. By 2020, the division had become so pronounced that fans noticed Chief and Kelly would often remain on opposite ends of the staging area during group filming. What made this rivalry particularly intense was that, unlike some other conflicts, this one centered around genuine competition. Both men were at the peak of their racing abilities, with comparable cars and skills. Their battles for supremacy weren't just personal, they represented competing visions for the future of street racing entertainment. Did Kelly's ambition threaten the 405's legacy? Or was Chief simply resistant to the natural evolution of the sport he helped popularize? The answer likely contains elements of both, fueling a rivalry that continues to define street racing's factional landscape. If you've been following the show since its early days, you might be surprised we're only halfway through our countdown. But trust me, the tension only intensifies from here. Number 2. Farm Truck and AZN. Technically counting as two individuals, but operating as a singular force within the Street Outlaws universe, Sean Farm Truck Whitley and Jeff AZN Bonnet provided the comic relief that balanced the show's intense competitive atmosphere. Their unlikely 1970 Chevy long bed pickup became an iconic sleeper vehicle that demonstrated racing wasn't just about the flashiest car. Fans adored their playful dynamic and elaborate pranks, which offered a refreshing contrast to the high-stakes drama of list racing. Even Chief seemed to appreciate their contribution to the show's appeal, giving them freedom to develop their unique brand of entertainment. However, the relationship soured dramatically during Season 12 in 2019, when a prank went catastrophically wrong. While filming a segment where Farm Truck and AZN were supposed to kidnap Chief's prized GTO as a joke, an accident occurred that reportedly caused significant damage to the vehicle's custom paint job and driver's side quarter panel. According to crew members present, Chief's reaction was immediate and volcanic. "That car isn't a prop for your fucking jokes," he allegedly shouted after discovering the damage. What was intended as harmless content for the show had crossed into damaging a vehicle that represented thousands of hours of work and emotional investment. This incident violated Chief's sacred principle of respecting another racer's vehicle. In street racing culture, a man's car is an extension of himself, the result of countless sacrifices, late nights, and personal vision. To damage it, even accidentally, through carelessness, was unforgivable in Chief's eyes. But here's where it gets complicated. Behind the scenes, tensions had already been building over Farm Truck and AZN's expanding role within the show. Production sources revealed that network executives had been discussing a potential spin-off focused solely on the duo's antics, a move that would potentially divert resources and attention from the core racing content Chief prioritized. The prank gone wrong became the catalyst that brought these simmering frustrations to the surface. And that's when everything changed. In the aftermath of the incident, Chief reportedly issued an ultimatum to producers: either refocus the show on legitimate racing, or he would consider exiting his contract. While on camera the relationship appeared to recover, insiders noted that Chief began distancing himself from segments involving Farm Truck and AZN, refusing to participate in their challenge videos or prank content. The consequences extended beyond personal interactions. The show's format notably shifted in subsequent seasons, with a clearer separation between racing content and the more entertainment-focused segments featuring the duo. Fans noticed the change, with social media comments frequently questioning whether the family feeling of earlier seasons had been lost. In a rare moment of public acknowledgement during a live stream in 2021, Chief alluded to creative differences that had changed dynamics on set, noting that some people see the show as entertainment first, racing second. I've always seen it the other way around. Did Farm Truck and AZN's rising popularity threaten Chief's vision for Street Outlaws? Or was their approach simply evolving with the show's mainstream success? The incident forced everyone involved to confront the fundamental question of what Street Outlaws was truly about: authentic racing culture or entertainment-driven content. Let that sink in. Number 1. Murder Nova. No relationship breakdown in Street Outlaws history shocked fans more deeply than the dissolution of the brotherhood between Big Chief and Sean Ellington, known to viewers as Murder Nova. From the very first episode, these two presented a united front that formed the backbone of the entire 405 operation. Their friendship predated the show by many years, with countless stories of them building cars together, defending each other in street confrontations, and creating the racing scene that eventually attracted television producers. Murder Nova's quiet intensity perfectly complemented Chief's more vocal leadership style, creating a partnership that seemed unbreakable. The first public signs of discord emerged in late 2021, when observant fans noticed the two no longer appeared in each other's social media posts. The separation became impossible to ignore during the filming of No Prep Kings Season 5, when crew members witnessed a heated argument in the pits after a race against Ryan Martin. According to multiple sources, the dispute centered around business decisions related to their shared shop, Midwest Street Cars. Allegedly, Ellington had been exploring partnership opportunities with competing parts manufacturers without consulting Chief, a move that directly conflicted with existing sponsorship agreements Chief had negotiated for the team. This perceived betrayal struck at what Big Chief valued most: absolute loyalty between brothers. In the high-stakes world they had built together, trust wasn't just important, it was essential for survival. Any suggestion that Murder Nova was making unilateral decisions that affected their shared business interests represented an unthinkable breach of their partnership's foundation. Now, let's rewind to understand the deeper context. As Street Outlaws' popularity exploded, both men faced unprecedented opportunities and pressures. Their small performance shop transformed into a national brand, requiring sophisticated business decisions neither had been prepared for initially. Sources close to both racers suggested that different visions for the company's future had been simmering for years. Chief reportedly wanted to maintain tight control over the brand's direction, while Ellington increasingly sought to diversify their business model and partnerships. But here's where it gets complicated. The tension wasn't solely about business. It reflected fundamental differences in responding to fame and opportunity. According to former team members, Chief had grown increasingly frustrated with what he perceived as Murder Nova's willingness to compromise authentic street racing principles for commercial gain. Meanwhile, Ellington reportedly felt Chief's uncompromising stance was limiting their potential growth in a rapidly evolving industry. And that's when everything changed. Following a particularly contentious filming day, in early 2022, the two reportedly stopped speaking entirely outside of necessary on-camera interactions. Production staff began scheduling them for separate filming days whenever possible. The partnership that had built Midwest Street Cars was functionally dissolved, with lawyers brought in to separate their business interests. Sources indicate that legal agreements now prevent either man from discussing specific details publicly. The consequences of this schism reverberated throughout the street racing community. Crew members and fellow racers found themselves forced to choose sides, creating factions within the once unified 405 team. Viewers immediately sensed the change in on-screen chemistry, with social media exploding with theories and speculation. Perhaps most telling was Chief's response during a rare moment of candor on a podcast. Sometimes the people you would take a bullet for are the ones behind the trigger. No names were mentioned, but to informed fans, the reference was unmistakable. Did success ultimately destroy what the streets had built, or was this division inevitable as both men evolved? The question lingers in every episode filmed since their falling out. Two brothers who once shared everything, from race strategies to family holidays, now reportedly communicate only through intermediaries. Is there anything more painful than watching your closest ally become your greatest disappointment? In the shadowy world of street racing, reputation is currency and respect must be earned with every pass down the asphalt. Big Chief's journey from unknown racer to the face of televised street racing carried him through relationships that tested, strengthened, and sometimes broke him. These 5 names represent more than just personal conflicts. They mark turning points that defined the evolution of an entire subculture as it transitioned from obscurity to mainstream attention. What these fractures reveal is the inevitable tension between maintaining authentic street racing principles and adapting to the realities of entertainment. Each relationship deteriorated along fault lines that exposed this fundamental conflict. Dave Comstock and J.J. Dawboss challenged Chief's authority and vision. Kai Kelly represented the threat of being surpassed by the very competition he had helped legitimize. Farm Truck and AZN embodied the pull toward entertainment over racing purity. And most painfully, Murder Nova's betrayal forced Chief to confront the possibility that even the strongest bonds might not survive the pressures of fame and business. The 405 that exists today bears little resemblance to the tight brotherhood that first appeared on screen in 2013. Many original members have moved on, replaced by younger racers with different values and motivations. Chief himself has undergone a transformation, becoming more guarded in his relationships and more calculating in his business decisions. The naive passion of those early seasons has been replaced by the wisdom that comes only through betrayal and recovery. Perhaps that's the real legacy of these 5 contentious relationships. They forced the evolution of not just a television show, but of a man who had to learn that leadership sometimes means standing alone. Thank you for taking this journey through the darker side of Street Outlaws history with us today. The conflicts we've explored reveal the very human struggles behind the high-octane drama that keeps us coming back season after season. Which name on our countdown surprised you most? Did you notice these tensions building in earlier episodes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're especially interested in hearing from longtime fans who might have spotted early warning signs we missed. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Street Outlaws lore, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all our upcoming content. Enable notifications so you never miss our next video breaking down the behind-the-scenes reality of your favorite automotive shows. Your support makes these detailed investigations possible, and we genuinely appreciate every view, comment, and share. Until next time, keep your eyes on the finish line.